Welcome to the On the Slab Horror Show, exclusively as part of the Dynamo Podcast Network with me, your returning host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, and joined once again by Greg Flanagan, co-host of Retrotainment, and that's capital C to you
Hello.
and me.
Don't forget the old Retrotainment recast now.
This is true.
The brand new show that we have that has 2 episodes up. Go check them out.
Yeah, so far we've had Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, and Hook.
And Hook, yeah. 2 really good shows on the Dynamo Podcast Network, and a new show that'll be coming out every week, I imagine.
Every second week.
Okay.
It's too hard to do it every week.
It's too hard.
You got to think those picks through. It's the most head-wrecking, infuriating thing you'll ever do in your life because you'll change it about 200 times.
And it's competition as well, so it makes you even more infuriated. So it's
especially if you're like me and hate losing.
Exactly, and me, because I'm sitting there going, no, I don't know about that. I'd probably be, I'm sure I'll be on at some point, and I'll probably be really annoyed, but I won't lose, so therefore I won't need to be annoyed.
I'll just have to mic drop and leave.
Yeah, boom. But we are back, of course, and I am back, obviously, in my absence. Greg, you've been on the show quite a lot, so I do.
Gotta help the brothers out.
Yeah, really, thank you for taking the time out. Carl is not here today, because he's back in the game. So, yeah, we are.
Fair play to him.
Yeah, he's back in the game. He's not running the streets. He's not doing Night Stalker or anything like that. One of those old 80s classics. He's just back in the working game. So
we'll go to a 90s classic here then, will we?
That's what we're gonna do. We actually picked something completely different today, to be fair. And you being, you're not really a guest anymore. You're part of the team.
I'm like an honorary host somewhere across the board.
Honorary co-host, exactly.
As I said to Carl, just set me up with a desk and a bottle of Grey Goose, bag of ice would be grand.
Nothing more needed. Nothing more needed. But today, Greg, I suppose you chose this film. We did have another film in mind, but we said we keep that as a little surprise because there might be something
big in the lines
from it down the line. So you chose today's film. So why don't you introduce it?
Well, we're going to go with Tremors. Fred Ward, classic. Kevin Bacon, and Victor Wong. Can't forget Victor Wong.
Finn Carter as well.
Yeah. But Victor Wong for me is arguably my favorite in this movie. Yeah. Sheely coming off Big Trouble in Little China. How would you
describe this movie? Because it has a bit of a Western element to it. Like it's in Vegas. It's in the Nevada desert, basically, not Vegas as such.
This to me is kind of a comedy horror crossed with a Western. It's kind of like one of the episodes that me and Carl did there when yourself was off with Ravenous. It's like a spaghetti Western horror.
Yeah.
With a bit of comedy in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's comedy now when you're older, but I mean, when you were a kid, this is very fucking real. You know what I mean?
Like, this movie apparently gave... so Kevin Bacon has sleepwalking issues and apparently used to give him nightmares because he was afraid that he'd sleepwalk and get eaten by a giant worm.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? This was... I saw this... This is right up my street. Like, I'm born in 84, so this would have been something I'd have seen when it first came out. You know what I mean?
Early enough into it, yeah.
Yeah, like pretty much when it first came out. When I got to rent it, basically in the video store back in the good old days.
Chartbusters, was it?
Hell yeah! It was always either Chartbusters and Bray was always my go-to. But I mean, like if you couldn't find it there, you go to Extravision. But Extravision was always the mainstream one. Chartbusters is where you would find the real good shit. You know that.
They had all the good horror ones, yeah.
Oh man, it was unreal. All the good horror and wrestling and all the stuff that you didn't think.
Yeah, they used to have all the pay-per-views, didn't they?
Yeah. All the things you didn't think you needed to see, they had. And if they didn't have it, they'd get it for you. So it was rest in peace, Chartbusters. But let's stop ourselves from crying here about fond old memories and get on to this movie. I mean, this was actually quite a good. I'm going to steal a line from Ted here because I don't usually talk about budget, because I remember this being a relatively relatively big enough movie when it came out, like it was in the cinemas, and obviously Kevin Bacon was kind of in the height of it there. Of he was kind of grown as an actor in terms of his.
Sure. He came off. It came off obviously Friday the 13th.
Yes, exactly. So
and a couple others along the way, like, and then he moved in from this. He became really big and he
Footloose
went
and
into
all that, wasn't
Sleepers
it?
and whatnot.
Footloose he was in, yeah. Or was that
it?
later?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think
that's
that
the
was
dancing
80s.
one.
Yeah, that was 80s. So yeah, he would have been.
I think he done Sleepers with Robert De Niro and all then as well.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit later in the 90s, but yeah, what a movie, by the way.
Yeah.
What a heel as an actor, but can also play babyface as well. Like he's so diverse.
He's still one of those actors that you look at being like, I'd love to box the head off you,
but I like you too much that I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like if you ask most horror fans now, he's the general pick that they want to play Freddy Krueger in the new Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think that's a great show. And I think
this particular he just has
movie,
that look.
Yeah, well, he can do any look, you see, because he's so likable in all the Sky ads and the mobile ads and all that. Like, he's a likable guy, and he can be a likable guy in movies. But then you see him in something like The River Wild, where he plays just an out-and-out fucking redneck.
What a movie.
What a movie. We watched that last night. Such a great movie. But yeah, this is Kevin Bacon basically in his prime. And great casting. You mentioned Fred Ward as well.
Fred Ward's a genius.
Fred Ward's great.
You have Michael Gross as Bert in this movie, was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it did okay in the box office too. I mean, it was a 10 million budget, 16.7 million return, which is not bad at all. You would call that a nice success for sure.
Especially especially coming out at that time, like that's a lot of people going to see it.
Big.
Like, it was probably what probably $1 or $2 to get in the cinema at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially coming off
16.7.
Do you think this was kind of piggybacking off the back of the success of horror movies in the 80s as well? And it was just something a little bit different, and maybe I think you might agree here, a little bit more mainstream as well.
Well, I think horror hadn't quite plateaued. It was still on the rise at that stage.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like your B and C horrors, like what you would call the horror buff for the
this is definitely a B. By all means, it's a B. But it falls under the run of the same as Critters and things like that.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. Like, you don't span 7 films for no reason.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And there's only a new one that came out last year, I think. A Cold Day to Die or something, or Cold Day in Hell or something.
Yeah, that was 2018. Yeah, that was number 5. No, that was number 6 actually, I think. Yeah.
Oh, there's another one. I thought that was the last one.
2020 is the new one, Shrieker Island.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and but this was the first like big mainstream one, obviously, because the follow up was a direct to video.
I think they've all been direct to video.
Yeah, whereas this one was the first of its kind, and I suppose without talking about, going too much into plot, as we kind of do it a little bit differently here. Why don't you just give the general narrative of this movie? Like, I love the setting and the tone of it. I love the cheesy humor in it. It's
it's set Nevada desert, somewhere between Vegas and Arizona or wherever it is.
A town called Perfection in Nevada, and it's
you couldn't get it better. A town of about 20 people population.
That would be perfect for me now, though. I swear to God, living in a town of 20 people away from everyone, Perfection would be the right place.
To me, it strikes you as an oiling town, really, or a mining town.
Yeah, definitely.
They have like a shop, a pub, and it's about it, really. Yeah. So it starts off with the lads out and they start noticing things, and then they're attacked. But what I like here is the build up in these attacks. You don't know what it is,
because they're trying to leave, aren't they? That's their end game. Like, they want to
get they want out because they want to find females.
The good stuff in life.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
But if things just start happening, there's like little earthquakes and things go missing. What I like here is when you see the graboids moving under the ground, so you don't see anything. but like you just see the ground going up like a mole, or like a, remember like the gopher in Caddyshack.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just dragging the ground up.
Yeah, they kill what's his name? Shepherd, your man and his flock of sheep. Shepherd Fred, is it?
I gotta have it here.
I think it's
I can't.
Shepherd Fred and his flock of sheep. You don't see it, but he destroys.
They just get swamped.
They just discover like the severed head, and I
Yeah,
think it's basically like some sort of maniac on the loose, like.
yeah, and they were just like, we're out.
Yeah.
But what a premise for a thing to just like, because you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing you can do.
No, that's it. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, it's basically all desert. Like, so this is how these things survive.
Old Fred.
Old Fred. All right, yeah. Well, I'm glad I got Fred right at least.
Yeah. But like, there's not even a huge cast. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. There's 16 people in the cast in this.
Which is great, man. I used to love movies like that. You know what I mean?
You can certainly make a movie with 10 people.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. If the narrative is good enough, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's like one of my favorite all-time horrors, and we are definitely going to do it at some point. And I'm sure you'll probably want to come on for this one. Videodrome.
Jesus.
That's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, and the casting isn't massive. Do you know what I mean? It's all about the narrative.
Even one of mine is the Blair Witch, the original Blair Witch.
Sure, I wouldn't be a massive fan of it, but I do appreciate it.
I do. I think it's because I watched it when we were in school, but there's only a cast of, I think overall, people that speak, probably about 7 people.
Yeah, I was about to say
it's really 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the 3 really, or the 4 that go out. You know what I mean?
Sometimes less is more with these kind of films, isn't it? Because it keeps your interest. I mean, this movie's probably only about the standard movie back in the day. Well, an hour and a half, 90 minutes.
I wouldn't even say that is this. I'd say this is about 120 or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's perfect what it is. It's all about the point, so to speak. And I guess they put that much money into the animatronics and stuff like that. And you know, that they probably kept their budget for that rather than getting a lot of
this one kind of went off the Gremlins way with the animatronics. They built the graboid.
Yes.
Rather than trying to CGI most of it in. Now some of it is CGI'd, but like they built it. So the original Tremor they built is actually in the Western Museum for Film History.
Yes, and I was going to say to you, because in fairness, CGI in 1990 wasn't really a thing other than just adding little bits. Like we would have saw some of it in like Back to the Future and all. Like they animate stuff into it just to, you know.
It's not much though.
No, very, very little. And there's a question I want to ask you, Greg, because me and Carl and myself, should I say, the right English here. How terrible of me as a host. I'm a little bit rusty. I'm only back, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with me. You've obviously heard our shows, and you notice we always talk about that, the old school animatronics and stuff, it's much better. There's something special about it, isn't there?
It's the skill that it takes to do it. Makes you're not going to build something like that for a shite movie.
Yeah,
you're only going to go and build. Well, obviously, if you get paid, you would, but you're going to put the work in to build it if you know it's good enough.
And if you're passionate about the project as well, of course.
Yeah. But like, if someone came to you and said, listen, we have this film, it's going straight to DVD, we need you to build this for this amount of money, you're probably not going to do it because you'll tarnish your own name.
Exactly. And a lot of these guys, like, you know, all of the old school names, you can pick any name, you know, that would have built these kind of sets. That is exactly what it is. They're so proud of their craft that, like, they earn enough money to keep doing what they're doing anyway. So they're not just going to do it for an extra couple of bucks.
And I wouldn't even say it was that. I'd say this was a low old throw ball, or build me this for this amount.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with that? Like, I won't even get me the materials to do it.
It's like, as I said on a previous episode with Bruce the Shark, and people kind of almost say, it was a bit cheesy. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's still the best fucking shark in a movie. It doesn't
ever.
There's no doubt about that. And that was the 70s. It's in the shots for the right amount of time. Look, like we say, Greg, we're horror snobs, but to a point. There's horror snobs, and then there's horror snobs that like will literally pause a scene just to pick out a
To,
fucking lick of paint missing. You know what I mean?
I'm one of these that I'll watch something and try to enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, what's the point
Like
in not? You know what I mean?
I've said it on every episode I've been in. Like the Wrong Turn series is my favorite series, and
Wrong
let's be
Turn is
fair,
fantastic. Yeah,
the
yeah.
first one is brilliant. Again, the less is more bit, but after that, everything becomes CGI. But I still enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. And if you go into this looking to nitpick on things, you know what I mean? You're going to, find things that you want to give out about. But I think staying on course with this, give us the narrative as they go on. The two boys are obviously copping on that there's something going on here. And
So you see the big worms coming along. It's like it's like feeders, but they're running off sound and vibration.
yes,
So they realize can't use the car, can't touch the ground. If you do, you got to be fast.
very,
Like then the worms start getting smarter. They realize, well, thing, and then it becomes a genuine survival movie.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I
It
mean?
does actually. Yeah.
It's what it is like. You know what I mean? But of course, with it being America, you have your one family that have about 4 million guns in their house.
Yes, and especially if this had
With
been in
birth.
Texas, the worms wouldn't have stood a chance.
They didn't really stand too much of a chance here either.
No, they didn't. They didn't. They get the worms basically down to
One.
three
Well,
initially,
yeah.
don't they? When they returned to the town, there was only about two or three.
There's the one that chases the digger out.
Yes,
There's the big one, and then there's the one they blow up. Yeah, to get back to about 3. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but I like the worms in this were brilliant. Like you don't see much. You might see the odd like. Do you know what the mouth of this looks like? Do you remember when in Blade 2 where the vampire splits and it has like the thing that pops out?
Right. Yeah.
It's like that. They have one of those that come out and like sense everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like
it's
weird.
kind of like they go, but it's like they can't see. But obviously, they can't see because they go by senses, and their mouth is pretty much everything, and their the vibrations, as you say. But yeah, no, I thought this was a great little movie. Like it's obviously on Netflix now for anyone that hasn't seen it. I mean, I don't know why you'd be listening to this show if you haven't seen it, but if you do happen to be, go and check it out. It's
been out for 31 years now. It's time you watch it.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half of just pure fun. Do you know what I mean?
Like this is one of them movies. Like I put it on the other night to watch, surely because I wanted something to watch, something easy, something to just throw on and be happy with. Do you know what I mean? I've seen it a million times, and I'll probably watch it again in the next couple of weeks.
And the great thing about it is, it's one of those movies. Like as we go on into this, like the lads realize. You touched on a point earlier. Like the lads realize that these worms are actually getting smarter, so they're gonna have to. It's a game of chess almost. So they're trying to outsmart.
Yeah.
The worm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like they're driving off, and then they're driving in the big JC or the digger, the excavator.
Yeah.
And it's classic. And then the worms figure it out, and they're digging the ground from under them, so they get stuck.
Yeah. And
like this generally becomes a very fun survival movie. It's not even very quickly. Like you don't see much in the first 40 minutes of this movie, really.
No, and
it's just like a weird little town.
That's why I think it's great, though. I love movies like that do have the kind of not necessarily slow build in this case, but it's a slow enough build that you're kind of getting familiar with what way the town is, as you said, there's only like 16 people, so you're getting familiar with who the key people in this town are. Do you know what I mean?
I think they build the backstories quite well as well.
Exactly.
Well, especially for the 3 main people. So obviously herself, Fred Ward, and Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's like Ernest Troost done the music for this.
Oh, the music is awesome, man. But I mean, you would expect nothing less, though, right?
Yeah, well, like at that time they had such good music around.
Yeah.
If you put a bad soundtrack to a film, the film's ruined.
Well, that's because they had to be original back then. We're in
Yeah.
2021 now, where people don't really know how to be original. So back then it was
Well,
just, you know,
as Carl says every other time, look at the amount of remakes that are happening now.
that's
You know
exactly
what I mean?
it. You know what I mean?
Remake, reboot. Oh, what have we got? We had a great movie back in the 80s. Let's make another part to it. Make it the exact same, just slightly different.
Isn't it the same with music?
Yep, pretty
They get
much. Well,
sampled,
I'm not entirely a big music guy, so
but you'll know by hearing. You know what I mean? They can't.
yeah.
They get a sample of a song that was a hit and just put it in the background, and they'll do a
Yeah.
silly rap over it or something like
And
that.
then someone gets sued.
Yeah. But now Spotify and the music industry owns everything, so it's just like, oh well, whatever. But
Yeah.
no, it's the same. It's the same with these kind of movies. I know we listen. You always know when Dynamo is back when we start segueing, because that's I am
Happened.
Mr. Segue. We do a complete 180, but that's what it's all about. Speaking of which, actually, I like that, because you can kind of see the group. They're kind of gradually losing a little bit of faith, losing a bit of hope,
But
and
like yeah, so like you see it here, it's again back to that horror survival. When there's a group, they will turn on each other.
yeah,
It's filmed very well when they turn on. It's slight, but everyone's picking at everyone. It's not just everyone
the
picking on
psychology
one.
of it, like, yeah,
Yeah. So like normally in films, you'll see the arsehole character be like, "Oh, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong." But in this one, he's picking at him while she's picking at someone else, being like, "Well, nobody's doing anything here."
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole group was threatening to implode.
And then what's really cool is Earl kind of gets the bright idea of tricking the worms into swallowing pipe bombs.
Dynamite.
Pipe bombs,
Yeah,
dynamite.
fishing. What
Yeah,
are you doing? We're going desert fishing.
yeah,
Like that was brilliant. They get the really long fuse,
yeah, yeah.
but again, it goes back to they get that one with it, and then you see the other ones getting smart about it.
Yeah, that's what I like about it though. So they had to be kind of they had to be innovative. You know what I mean?
Oh well, like when it's hilarious though. Like when you see the second one eat the dynamite and then he spits it out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're
It's
like,
like, what the
yeah,
fuck? I'm not having this.
yeah,
It's
no, not doing that.
it's like when you give your dog like a piece of lettuce off the table, and you think like, I'm tricking you into eating this nice little piece of lettuce. It's like, that ain't meat, motherfucker. I'm not having it.
Nah, chap, no. If it
Yeah,
didn't come from an animal, I ain't eating it.
yeah. Fuck off, man. I need to eat other animal. So, but it's really cool. I love um I love how Val basically gets the final worm.
Like, yeah, you see it, and it's another throwback to earlier in the movie. I love it when films do it,
Yeah,
where they throw back to the edge, something that you've seen earlier, and it's something so slight earlier about the edge of the cliff,
yeah,
and then like obviously ripping it out and out it comes.
yeah. It's
Um,
unbelievable.
but like
Um,
I'd say they only had one chance to film that as well.
yeah,
Like that was it. If that went wrong, that was it.
that's it. Like, yeah. Otherwise, you gotta fucking spend a shit ton more money to build something else as well, and then you're looking at like,
But I was reading something earlier about it, right? So this obviously was an American film, right? So in the three sections of America, so the north, south, and say east or west, I'm not sure. It didn't say. This movie had three endings, right? And in the test screenings, they showed one ending in one area, one ending in another area, and one ending in the third area. And whichever one scored highest in the test one, they put out as the main film.
wow,
Like that's showing balls.
that is major balls.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Actually,
Now
I found,
I'd love to see the other two endings.
well, I always like to see alternative endings as well, but then at the same time, you're kind of like, does it ruin it for me? But at the same time, I don't know. I think I think I was happy with what I saw. I just looked
Oh,
at
100%.
I just looked at something here, which is interesting. I'm at pulling something up. Tremors opened in January 1990. So it technically is an 80s movie, really released.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It
yeah.
was shot, but it released in 1,457 theaters against no new releases, and debuted at number 5 spot behind Born on the 4th of July. What a film.
Oh,
Um,
Tom Cruise.
oh, what an amazing film. Very underrated film. Tom Cruise, what an underrated actor, too. Um, Tango and Cash, another classic.
It's a good
War
movie.
of the Roses, good movie. And Internal Affairs, grossing 3.7 million in its open weekend. Man, like that is really good. It dropped to number 6 on its second week, but would stay in the top 10 for 4 weeks before finally dropping to 11 in week
Yeah.
5. So, yeah, budget of 10 million, grossed 16.6 in the domestic box office, obviously in the States, which made it, successful, definitely. But it says far below projected numbers. And in 2019, Kevin Bacon hinted that Tremors only made a fifth of what the charts at Universal said it would. So it says its creators blamed the subpar theatrical performance on its marketing campaign. S.S. Wilson felt that the film was not well promoted once its release date was delayed, while Brent Maddox slated the theatrical trailer as cringeworthy.
Oh, the trailer is desperate.
Yeah, so I mean, that all does make a lot of sense to me now when I look at, because I always like to look at trailers, before the movie, especially the old school ones, just to kind of get me in the mood. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's one of my favorite things about going to the cinema.
Yes, yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's one of the best.
my missus
parts.
would be like, the film. Missus would be like, "Oh, we could go in 5 minutes late." I was like, "No, we can't."
No,
And
hell
she's
no.
like, I was like, I want to see what's coming out. I don't care if I don't like it. I'd like to see it. Like, imagine going to a new movie now and missing the opening trailer that they released for Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'd be pissed.
that's it. Like, I mean, as soon as which I saw recently as well, and I gotta say, as soon as I saw the car and saw Slimer and
Oh,
yeah, you're not gonna deter me from anything like that unless it's the female cast.
well,
No
this
offense
is
to the
like this is
females.
what Ted is brought up quite well. With that Ghostbusters new one, they released nothing for over a year.
Nope.
They just said this is happening, sent a picture of the car, and was like, "That's it."
And did you notice they didn't show one of the original members in that trailer, even though it's a long trailer?
Well,
They didn't
technically they do.
They showed Dan Aykroyd's hand.
I thought it was Bill Murray.
No. That's Dan Aykroyd's.
I'll have to go and rewatch it. I thought it was Bill Murray. It
That's
sounded like
Dan
Bill Murray
Aykroyd's
answered the phone.
hand where he answers the phone, and
Yeah.
it looks like it's in his old shop where he sold all of the trinkets and stuff like that.
I'll have to go back and watch that. I thought it was Bill Murray. It sounded like Bill Murray when I was listening to it.
No, I think it's
Anyway.
Dan Aykroyd. But either way,
Back to the
dude,
war.
I'm happy with both. As long as I get both, I'm happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm also happy to be wrong, but
It's just a shame that Egon's not there.
yeah, dude, that's
But
yeah.
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But yeah, dude, let's look at some more. Actually, do you know what? I was just looking here. TV Guide, which is obviously one of the big things in America that would have been, where people would get their.
Oh, do you remember we used to have them over here? He used to tell you what the movie was about.
Absolutely, and it was like if they told you it was good, grand, you're gonna watch it. If they told you it was shit, forget about it. But the reason I'm bringing this up, because I generally don't care about reviews. It's only this because it goes to something that we mentioned, and you in particular mentioned earlier. Tremors is very well cast with Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon proving affable and enjoyable comedy leads. Special effects are first rate. It may not top anyone's top 10 best list, but Tremors is nevertheless solid entertainment. I think I don't think
exactly what it is.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely apropos for this movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like as I said earlier, you don't span 7 films, and I don't care if the rest of them are shy. You don't span 7 movies off the back of a terrible movie.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think it's a great little movie, and
like Ron Underwood, the director, he's done a couple of good movies along the way. He done City Slickers.
Yeah,
and he done that Mighty Joe Young.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Like,
great movies.
He didn't do bad movies. Like, he's other movies as well, but they'd be the 2 biggest ones.
But they're good movies, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they made money.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think that's obviously why he was allowed to do this movie, or obviously put in charge of this movie. I don't know the absolute history of it, but
Well,
yeah, I mean,
at least we have Saturday Night Live to thank for the name. Did you know
Tremors
that?
is a great name, really.
Did you know what the original name for the movie was?
No.
Land Sharks.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, that's what they were originally going to call it.
That's
And
almost as good as fucking,
Sand Sharks or
sharks
Ice
in
Sharks.
space or something, or whatever the.
Yeah.
What
No, but it
the
was
other ones?
Ice Shark and Sand Sharks, and there's a new one out called Lava Shark.
Oh God.
I don't even think, but I don't know where they were getting land sharks from.
I'm
but
sure
anyway,
there's like a shark versus zombies or something somewhere as well. Like I don't know.
Sharktopus.
Sharknado.
Hey, leave Sharknado out of this.
Yeah, Sharknado was there. That's Nazis versus zombies kind of territory. It's
then did you know it's a PG-13 movie, which is it's available for all to watch, really, to an extent.
Yeah, I would be, especially in 2021, I wouldn't be deterring people from letting their kids watch this.
There is one curse word in this whole movie. Kevin Bacon drops the F-bomb once in this whole movie.
And you know what? Kevin Bacon does drop a good F-bomb, in fairness. But Kevin Bacon is the kind of, heel that doesn't need to drop F-bombs even. That's how great he is. Like I say, go back and watch The River Wild if you want to see Kevin Bacon as a heel. And if you really want to see him as a heel, go watch Sleepers. Holy shit.
I'm not talking about that. That's one for a different day.
Yeah, that's not even a horror. It technically is horrific, but it's
that draws the most heat I've seen anyone get for anything.
Boom.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Case in point, without a shadow of a doubt. But
it's a great movie. Like, Victor Wong is hilarious, and this is as normal.
Yeah,
as the shop owner.
As we draw this to a close, what do you think when you look at something like Tremors and kind of where it is in its, where it is for what it is? How many slabs of meat would you give this movie?
3, probably.
I think that's fair.
3, yeah. It's good film. Like, as that TV guide said, it's never going to win any Oscars or top 10s. But if it's on for an hour and a half, fine. You're not gonna be disappointed with it.
Yeah, I'd give it 2.5, 3 as well. Definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't go lower than 3. 3 I'd say it'd be fair for it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's good acting. It's very hard to be a film with a cast of 16 people. Do you know what I mean? And 2 or 3 main people, and be an unreal acting job. You know what I mean? Especially in a movie like this.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are they going to do? They're not, like, they can only act like they're fucking scared and act like they're trying to.
Like, Kevin Bacon's gone on to be a great actor. Fred Ward is the same character in everything he's in, nearly, but does it well. Do you know what I mean? Victor Wong was Victor Wong. He done about 4 million movies.
But you need those type of actors as well, don't you? That do play that same role, because it's familiarity.
If you make your money off playing the same role for the rest of your life, like, look at The Rock now. It's the same role over and over again. Do you know what I mean?
And the funny thing is, we know he's got diversity in him. But
you go back and watch some of the old ones. But like Michael Gross has been in, I think, in every one of these movies.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to get on with it. But like, with 15 or 16 people, it was very hard to win an Oscar off a story like this anyway. But like, I thought the acting was fine. Story was good. The build between the characters were great. The animatronics were good. Like, they obviously don't look overly great now, but at the time, like, people would say about Gremlins now is the same, but like, Gremlins is a classic. This is a classic for me.
If people say anything about Gremlins, I'm coming through the screen and I'm gonna fucking become a gremlin.
Yeah, Gremlins, like the animatronics for this, Gremlins and things like that, and Critters even were brilliant.
Yeah, Critters.
Like you have to make your start somewhere as an actor. Like, we've seen Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street. You see Kevin Bacon in the likes of this, Friday the 13th. Leonardo DiCaprio came off Critters. or
Very
Critters
true.
3. So I mean, you got to go somewhere. Movies have
Hell,
to be made.
hell, even Jennifer Aniston was in
Leprechaun.
you know.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
which
you
is a
can't
great movie, by the way.
if you,
Grant,
you can't knock it. You're not going to turn down a movie because you think it's going to fail. You know what I mean?
absolutely, no, 100%. I think this was a great little movie, and I think Three Slabs of Meat is fair,
Yeah.
more than fair. Um, but
Like I don't think
yeah,
I'd give it any higher, but I don't think it'd go any lower.
no. I was 2.5 before I came into this little chat, but now I think you've sold me on it, and the more and more I think about it, I think three is absolutely more than fair because if you're only giving a half, you're kind of saying 50-50, and I think it's better than that. So
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think three is absolutely fair, and you know, some could argue that like Critters is better, or you know, the likes of Beetlejuice and all is better, and that's absolutely fine. And who
Everyone
knows?
has their own.
Yeah, but
That is the best thing about films. Everyone has their own opinion. It might be wrong, but
personal opinion. But yeah, sometimes personal opinions are wrong.
that's an argument for a different night.
It is, and I think that's a great way to end the show. Greg, once again, thank you very much for coming on to the show.
No problem, bro.
I'm sure we'll have Carol back next week. You'll probably be here again. Anyway.
Lads, use out Head of Fortune at this stage.
I think Ted owes me the fortune. Come on. Got the Dynamo Podcast Network, yeah.
Yeah, no, anytime.
Perfect. Listen, it's been a pleasure. And until next week, for On the Slab, Ian is over and out, and as is Greg.